All right. Well, fantastic. Kim, did you want to start out or you want me to start out? And how do you want to handle this, my friend?
Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to keep this real short because I really appreciate you doing this kind of a private VIP comp plan overview from some of the people that we're bringing on board here. At this point, obviously, I have no clue who is with us. I'm very excited about what you guys are going to be seeing here. You know, I've been hearing about Bemer for the better part of the last year. Wasn't really paying attention to it. I have a significant background in the networking industry, been around for about 3 decades. I've hit 4 home runs, built massive organizations nationally and internationally. As a matter of fact, George, I think the first time you and I met, you were a young kid sitting in the front row taking notes when we were back in the quorum days or something like that. You know, so.
You are absolutely right.
So it's funny how life comes full circle. But I'm excited to be on your team here, and was listening into the first webinar. You did a phenomenal job. The reason I asked you to come on to do this tonight is I think, like myself, a lot of people that have been in the networking industry, we've heard about Bemer. We understand it's an incredible product. And a lot of us have had this thing in the back of our minds that, hey, this is a direct sales deal and it's really not for us. At least that was my attitude. And eventually, kind of, you know, I had enough people talk to me about this. I reached out to you and I'm like, hey, give me the scoop. And what you did with us yesterday, walking through the compensation plan, I was like, oh, my gosh, I wish somebody had shown me this about a year ago, you know.
Yep.
So on that note, I appreciate you taking the time to do this, and please just do exactly what we did yesterday. I know you're recording this, so guys, please hold your questions so we can get a clean recording. And then afterwards, we'll open it up, and George can answer your questions. So back to you, buddy. Thank you.
Kim, thanks so much, my friend. And needless to say, we're crazy excited to have you part of the team. And you know what? You mentioned, oh, my gosh, so that was back in the early 90s. And I remember you guys, man. You guys were having a phenomenal run. And I was just new to the industry, and I was so envious of all of the excitement and stuff that you guys had going on. So it's funny how the universe works. And so, man, I was on your team back then, and welcome to our team now. And needless to say, we're really, really excited to have people like yourself joining us. And so on that note, I'm going to go ahead and just mute us out for the sake of the rest of the conversation, and we'll open it up at the end. Just 1 second, you guys. Perfect. So what I want to do is I just want to welcome each and every one of you, and I have really no idea who's on the webinar as well. But, you know, just like the beginning portion of what we just talked about, where we got really into the, you know, into the company, the product, and who's behind it and all that, what we're going to talk about now is the business model. And what you're going to discover here is this is unlike anything you've ever seen. As a matter of fact, when we first were looking at Bemer from a business perspective, interestingly enough, it took me 3 weeks to find something on the comp plan. I couldn't find it anywhere on the internet. It was nowhere on the company website. The people that we were talking to, they gave me a couple, you know, PDFs on it later on. But you know what? That actually got me excited because unlike most things where they're plastering the business model and the opportunity all down your throat, this is the exact opposite. It's very different. 98% of all the conversations are all about the remarkable health benefits that the Bemer technology offers the marketplace. But around it, you guys, is a business model that's actually been written for people like us, by people that have already done it, the Gleim family. Peter Gleim Sr. is actually recognized with bringing, you know, the direct sales model to Europe, and they became fabulously wealthy as a result of it. And so they put together a business model that's absolutely amazing. And it all starts with, you know what, the goal and the vision of the company, as we talked about, is to put a Bemer in every home. Absolutely love the vision. The company has absolutely no debt whatsoever. They never took a dime of debt from the moment that they started in business. And when you're in it, when you're not, controlled by anyone, when you don't need the money, you make the right decisions. And I've had the good fortune. I've spent a lot of quality time with the Gleim family. Myself and 10 of my partners, we actually went over there 3 months ago, and we spent one entire week from sun up to sundown and many times into the wee hours of the night just discussing where we're going and the impact that we're going to have out there. And it's phenomenal to be in business with these guys. So what they've done is they put together, in the beginning, think of this thing as a direct sales model, first of all, with a 2-tiered affiliate plan. So unlike MLM, and I've been in that space, you guys, and that industry has been good to me. Like him, I've had a few good runs there, but nothing like what's happened here. So first of all, everybody starts out equal. There's no games here, guys. It doesn't matter what your background is, what you've done in the industry, or if you've never been in the industry. We all start out as IBDJ. That means an independent Bemer distributor, junior ranked associate. But we're starting out at a 17% margin, meaning that when we sell a professional unit, and since 98% of our sales are for the professional model, we're going to just keep the conversation on that. So let's just round that off to $6,000. You're starting out at a 17% margin, meaning you're making over $1,000 per sale. Now, to give you an idea and to give you something to compare with, about 10 years ago, we bumped into a very similar situation with a water technology known as Kangen water. Similar story, awesome product, a lot of rich history over in Japan, had been in America for a number of years, couldn't get any traction in the marketplace. And we put in the tools and the systems, and we built together an unbelievable team, and we ended up having an amazing, awesome run. But where I'm going with that, you guys, is we sold a product for $4,000, okay? And so in the beginning, when we sold that product, we earned $285, and we have to sell over 20 units to get into a $1,000 income category. Here, you're starting there from the very beginning. And in order to go from the junior rank to the senior rank from 17 to 25%, it simply requires 5,000 points of productivity. And the way that you accrue or accumulate points is you sell. The only way to accumulate points is through your own personal sales. And so once you're a distributor, when you sell a unit, if it's a classic, you're going to earn 1,000 points. If it's a pro, you're going to pick up 1,500 points. So now any configuration that leads to 5,000 points, from that point on, in real time, you are now a senior ranked associate, meaning that you're going to earn a $1,500 commission when you sell a professional unit. And guys, it's that way forever. For the rest of your career, we're not going to force monthly purchases on you. We're not going to make you requalify year after year to earn, that percentage. And we're not going to make you have any kind of productivity requirements. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. So clearly you can see that you get to dictate a large portion of your own income, which is very different than in the MLM arena, because over there, guys, like it or not, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. We're at the mercy of our team here. Imagine once you're a senior, you make one sale a week. That translates to better than $70,000 a year of income. And that's something that can be done and is already being done. And that's the first stream of income, the direct sales model. Okay. Now from that, guys, if you want to leverage your efforts, you can. So anytime that you personally bring a distributor to the table, you're going to earn an 8% override forever. So regardless of what happens with the comp plan down the road, as we move, through the ranks, you're going to always earn an 8% override every time somebody that's direct to you makes a personal sale, and that translates to $480. Now notice, from the time that you start at 17 to the time you get to senior, the difference there is what's called the spread, or 8%, if you will. Now, many times companies keep that. That's known in the industry as breakage. Our company pays out that extra 8% on every sale. It's just a function of where it's appropriated. So when you begin, right, so anytime that you personally bring a distributor on board, On top of the 8%, while they're still at that junior rank level, the company is going to pay you an extra 4%. So that 8% difference is divided by, the first 4% goes to the sponsor. So if you do the math there on everybody's first 4 sales that's direct to you, you're actually earning 12% or the equivalent of $720 on those first 4 sales. And then every sale thereafter is 8% or $480. So that's on the first tier. The second tier is at a 3% margin. So 3% of 6,000 is $180. So if you play around with these numbers, you guys, the numbers are ridiculous. Let me give you a scenario. And again, this is for illustration purposes. But what if you sold 1 unit a week? That would translate to $6,000, right? Now, if you were to leverage your efforts and you built a team of just 5 directly sponsored distributors, you teach them to sell 1 unit a week, your overrides now are your overrides are $2,400 a week, plus your $1,500, that's $3,900 a week, or better than $15,000 per month on 25 sales per month. And so when the business world catches on to this compensation number, these numbers, along with recognizing what we have here from a product perspective, these are numbers that make sense. These are numbers that get people crazy excited about. And guys, we are pulling people into this business model that we would have never, ever pulled in with anything else. And that's because the product works. It's got a rich history, and the numbers make all the sense in the world. So this portion of the plan is available to everybody. Now, invariably, if we do this right, we're going to have productivity beyond that second tier. And in order to tap into that stream of income, you're going to have to get into what we call our leadership and management ranks. And that all starts with going from the senior rank to what's called a group leader. Okay? Now, in order to get to the group leader levels, 2 things have to happen. Number 1, you've got to have 5 personally enrolled distributors, and you've got to help them get to the senior rank, meaning that they've made a minimum of 4 sales. So that's criteria number 1. The second criteria is between your first and your second tier, the affiliate portion of it, right? First, second tier, you have to have a total of 20 distributors, not customers necessarily, distributors. So the philosophy here, of course, is if you want to get into leadership positions, you got to have a team to lead. And when you get to the group leader level, and this, by the way, is the pivotal part of the plan, some interesting things start to happen. And the interesting thing about it is now you're picking up an extra 1.5 on all of the sales in your entire organization, okay? Beginning with your personal sales. So now 25 becomes 26.5. 8 becomes 9.5. 3 becomes 4.5. You think about on your second tier, you've just got a 50% increase. But then the beautiful part of the plan is now any sales south of your second tier. It could be on your 30th level, and it doesn't matter who makes the sale. You're earning an extra 1.5. And in the case of a professional model, that translates to $90 per sale, down to infinity or down to that next group leader. So obviously when you start to have a more mature organization, the block would be at that next group leader, and we'll open it up to some questions. But suffice it to say, if there are no group leaders, it's 1.5 down to infinity. That's the group leader rank, and that's awesome, okay? From there now, the goal is to get from group leader to get to the team manager. And guys, when you get to the team manager rank, now you've stepped into career opportunity. You're making full-time income. And guys, there's dynamics to this part of the plan that start to kick in at this level that I have never, ever seen. So let's talk about what it actually takes to get to team manager from group leader. You've got to basically earn $2,000 a month for 3 consecutive months in overrides from your team. Here, personal productivity is not factored in because what they're looking at is they're evaluating your management skills. How strong of a leader are you? Is your group, getting the support that they need? Are the customers getting the adequate, support that they need? Or are they calling the company and complaining that no one's to be found? This is by invitation only. It's for a very exclusive club, you guys. The people that are out there representing the brand and doing it the right way get invited in. And once you're in, some amazing things start to happen. So let's talk about what those things are. So now 25% becomes 28%. So think of it. Now you're adding an extra $180 beginning with your personal productivity. 8 becomes 11. 3 becomes 6. And any activity below your second tier, you're now overriding at a 3% to infinity situation, or $180. In the case that there's a group leader somewhere there, then you and that group leader, you split the 3%, you get a point and a half, they get the point and a half. That in and of itself is awesome, okay? If that weren't enough, here's the kicker. This is the X factor. This is the big differentiator. And remember in the beginning, guys, we talked about that spread, that 17 to 25%, that 8% difference, where the first 4% went to the sponsor, and so he got paid that 4% bonus whenever one of his directs made a sale while they were at that junior rank. The other 4% goes to the team manager. Now, the difference here is it doesn't matter who makes the sale, where they are in your organization. It's down to infinity. You, in essence, are picking up an extra 4% or $240 all the way down to infinity on everybody's first 4 sales. You start to do the math, and Kim, I remember as you and I started to talk about this component of it yesterday, you about fell out of your chair, because this dynamic to the comp plan, you guys, I have never, ever seen. And now we've got, my partners are now starting to step into the equation. They've now hit the ranks here. The income has absolutely exploded. It's doubled, it's tripled, it's quadrupled for many of them, because these tiers of income, these additional streams of income, start to kick in at the team manager level. And it's absolutely awesome. And if we did nothing beyond this, it would be enough to literally make whatever you're willing to go get. But it actually gets better. So from team manager, right, once you're there and once you develop a team manager below you, now you're overriding that entire organization down to infinity at 2%, meaning that you're making right about $120 every time somebody in that entire organization, doesn't matter where or by who, makes a sale. So that's organizational manager. From there, guys, the goal is to get to organizational director. Once to get to organizational director, essentially means that you've now built out 3 separate lines or teams where there's at least one team manager in each of the 3 separate lines, right? Once you're there, now you start to kick in additional streams of income, which we're going to talk about here right now. So here's the deal. In the beginning, we all start out, remember we talked about, we start out at junior, 5,000 points gets you to senior. From there, the goal is to get to group leader. That's the first tier in our leadership level. And then team manager, organizational director. Now you're getting into management. Now you're getting into career type of situation. So let's put it into perspective. Let's just go back to the percentages. So we talked about junior. We talked about senior. We talked about getting a group leader. It's an extra 1.5 beginning with your own productivity. We talked about team manager. This is phenomenal, guys. And then from there, you get to organizational manager, 2% override on that entire team manager team. And those numbers are accordingly below. Again, we'll open it up to some questions afterwards. From there, to get to organizational director, keep in mind 3 separate lines of team managers. Now you're overriding all of the organizational manager teams by 2%. Other streams of income kick in. So now let me take you back. So now imagine 25% becomes 30. Okay? 8% becomes 13. 3% becomes 8. 3% all the way down to infinity now becomes 5, excuse me. So imagine, play around with those numbers. What you're going to clearly get is you don't need a team the size of Orlando to make this thing work. A handful of individuals, like-minded individuals that are here for the right reasons. Guys, you could do some amazing things with this comp plan. And right now, at the very top of the plan, it's what's called an Organizational Director Plus. Essentially what this means is now you've actually taken 4 separate teams, helped them to get to the team manager rank, and some additional streams of income actually start to kick in at that level. So that's a quick snapshot of the compensation structure. And guys, I mean, it really is a thing of beauty. Now, to put those percentages into perspective, here are what essentially that means numbers. And by the way, all of the sales that are generated by the end of the month are paid mid-following month. And one thing that they're very, very several things, but they ship on time, they pay on time, they've been around for 17 years, and guys, they really, really got their act together, and we are going to make our own piece of medical history as we continue to march forward. So that's a snapshot in terms of what those numbers actually look like, and good things really, really do happen for those of us that go out and earn it. And you know what? I'm going to open up the lines, but suffice it to say, you guys were invited here by Kim Simsby. This guy's an absolute legend in the industry. I mean, he's a consummate professional. You guys are very, very blessed that you got leadership like him that's invited you to this, because I know he and I talked about what we're going to be doing here, where we've got the ability to take Bemer, and it really is one of those unique times in your life that, you know what, 5, 10, 20 years from now, you're going to be reflecting back on this and recognize it is really one of the most important times in your life. And we're really, really excited that you guys chose to come spend some time with us. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and just stop this recording, and then we're going to open up the lines